Let's now shift our focus to Nigeria, where 50 school children kidnapped last week have escaped captivity. That, according to Christian Association of Nigeria. The children are now reportedly safe and back with their families. More than 300 students were abducted on Friday from St. Mary's Catholic School in Papiri in the state of Niger. The school says the children escaped individually between Friday and Saturday. Authorities say 253 children and 12 teachers are still missing.
Between Friday and Saturday up until early hours of today, Sunday, 50 of these children, they escaped. This was, we count it as a sigh of relief for us because the number has reduced. And out of the 303 children, we have 12 staff, which makes the total number to 315. So we have 50 of these children back to their parents if reunited with their parents. Currently, the school is shut down.
There has been no communication from the abductors. No group has claimed responsibility, and investigators say the motive still remains unclear.
We've not heard of anything. We don't know which group or terrorist group that's responsible for this. And I know that the security agencies, the government, and other major stakeholders, including the diocese, they're on top of the game. And we're just praying and hoping that these children will be rescued and returned back safely to their parents.
The kidnapping has triggered anger across civil society groups. Activists say the country still lacks unity and urgency in responding to mass kidnappings.
My first reaction was that I was numb and so heartbroken. This is something that we should all have rallied together as a nation and say never will anyone touch our children and we will not go after them. Unfortunately, we failed at that, and over the years, what it now did was that it emboldened the terrorists to continue to pick up our children.
And these concerns echo a wider issue. Kidnappings linked to terrorists have become a security crisis for communities across Nigeria. Just days before the Papiri attack, 25 school children were abducted in Kebbi State. Last Tuesday, terrorists stormed a church in Kwara State, killing 2 people and kidnapping 38 worshippers. Those captives have now been released. Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu credited the rescue to security services, but gave no operational details. As a result of these incidents, local communities are now living in constant fear. In Lagos, residents say they are exhausted by this never-ending security threat.
We have been facing insecurity in this country for a very long time. We should think that it's because of what Donald Trump said. That's why it's now worse. No. Even before now, we have been facing it more than this. So more than this. We talk about it today and tomorrow. Same thing in the day after.
The government know about what is happening. Because I don't know why we have army who has jet fighter should notice these people whenever they are. But they cannot do anything just because of most of them, their children is not in Nigeria. Most of them, their children is overseas schooling.
With no group claiming responsibility, local authorities say armed bandits are likely behind the Papiri kidnapping. These groups operate across northern states and target schools for ransom as they lack proper security. UNICEF says less than 4 in 10 schools in Nigeria have early warning systems to detect these dangers. In response, Niger State has shut down all schools. The governor says the move is temporary but necessary.
These incidents will have been avoided. However, it's not a time for blame game. Our mission today is to see how we can rescue these children and all those that have been kidnapped in that incident. And if there are other schools that are in vulnerable areas, the state government will also close them down. All schools in Niger North will also be closed completely until further notice.
And the closures go beyond Niger State. Across northern Nigeria, nearly 50 schools have been evacuated due to rising threats. Exams have been halted. Students have been sent home.
We are sort of informed by the school yesterday that we should go and pick the children this morning. for security reason, which I understand actually, because as a parent you can imagine our distress. So it's a painful measure, but I think it is, what can one do?
They have to let children go for their safety. Their life is important than their education as far as now is concerned. So I think it's the best.
And the situation in Nigeria has caught the attention of the United States. Washington is considering sanctions and increased counterterrorism cooperation with Nigeria.
The Trump administration is developing a plan to incentivize and compel the Nigerian government to better protect Christian communities and improve religious freedom. This plan will consider U.S. state and Treasury engagement on sanctions, as well as possible Department of War engagement on counterterrorism and other efforts to protect religious communities.
Nigeria has long faced the issue of school kidnappings. In March 2024, over 200 students and staff were abducted in Kaduna. They were freed 2 weeks later. The government denied paying ransoms. In July 2021, nearly 150 students were taken from a Baptist school also in Kaduna. Again, authorities denied paying a ransom. In May 2021, 136 students were abducted from an Islamic school in Niger State. 6 died, 15 escaped, and the rest were released after 3 months. And in February 2021, 279 girls were kidnapped in Zafama. They were freed days later after reports of beatings and threats. It's a pattern repeating itself over years. Different states, different schools, but the same outcome. Children taken, families waiting, but those still living in the conflict-torn regions, the focus is now simple. Rescue the missing and prevent another mass kidnapping. Tonight, 50 children are back home, but more than 200 remain in captivity as the search for the missing continues. We'll keep tracking the situation and keep you updated.
They promised glory. They delivered fear. They shaped nations. They scarred generations. From brutal purges to propaganda machines, from stolen power to violent falls from the throne. Welcome to The Dictator, a series that strips away the myth and then exposes the men behind the tyranny. History remembers their power. Firstpost reveals their truth.